I wrote this short story a few years ago, around the same time of year, actually early September, shortly after the hurricane season. It's midday and I'm sitting streamside writing in my journal. The waterfall's running rapid today. All that precip from Hurricane France is still running off, with more from Ivan the Terrible to come. What an exhilarating sound the water makes. Cascading over the boulders, tumbling forward in exuberance, positively electrifying the air around it. Buzzing in the energy field above it are two cobalt blue dragonflies, darting about, back and forth, dive-bombing one another, shifting position and relationship to one another, dancing on air. Across the stream, a black snake lounges on a sun-drenched flat rock. He's in a double coil, head to tail, overlapping himself in the middle, a figure 8, a serpentine symbol of infinity. Or not. A raven caws overhead, a rhythmic chant, 3 caws, a pause, 3 more. I close my eyes and listen. Caw, 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 caw. Coffee's all gone, the woman at the Daily Bread Bakery says when I stop by after my visit to the falls. You're late today, Steve. I nod. I'm not really keeping track of time today, Jane. I look into the glass case, point at the carrot cupcakes. I'll take 2 of them. As Jane bends to reach into the case, the sun coming through the front window flickers on a pin on her blouse, catching my eye. A silver adornment with cobalt blue enamel inlay. 2 interwoven dragonflies. I like your dragonflies, I say when Lady Jane hands me the white paper bag and change from a $5 bill. Jane reaches up with her free hand and lightly touches the Art Nouveau pin. She fondles the wings. It was my grandmother's, she smiles. An image pops into my mind. A soft, romantic portrait, an Edwardian photograph. A Gibson girl with waves of hair piled atop her head. White blouse with a ruffled collar. Dragonflies affixed just below the throat. A photo from an album viewed in childhood. My adoptive father's mother. I never knew her. She died years before I appeared. But that picture always looked so familiar to me, as if I did know her. 5 minutes later, I'm pumping the last gallon of gas into the cruiser at the BP, when an Infiniti FX pulls up to pump number 8. The driver steps out, a man with a dragonfly tattoo on his left arm. Do you know how to get to Buck Hill Falls? The Infiniti man inquires. I nod. I know where the falls are, but you can't go back there. They're closed to the public. It's an insurance thing. The man scratches his head. Oh, he says, evidently disappointed. I saw them listed on the map. I thought I'd check them out. I withdraw the nozzle, close the gas cap. I know another set of falls. They're not on any map. I'd have never found this on my own, the man says, as he steps onto the squarish flat boulder where I usually meditate. Thank you for sharing this. I step onto the rock beside him and look across the stream. The snake's gone. The dragonflies remain, still doing their aerial ballet. What's the name of this place? The visitor wonders aloud. Doesn't have an official name, I reply. I call it Eden Falls. It's been an unusual summer, hasn't it? Mr. Infiniti remarks, as an emerald green dragonfly joins the blue twosome. I sit down on the rock, dangle my feet over the edge, above Eden Falls. Never really got hot here, I say, and all that rain, I was considered building an ark. He chuckles. Well, so much for global warming. Sits down beside me on my left, seizes the edge of my tattoo, peeking out from under my t-shirt sleeve. What's your ink? I pull up the cloth. Display the symbol. The Sanskrit Om I chose. Past, present, future, contained in one symbol. Infinity, man, he says. I lift. I wear it. You drive it. He tosses the key to Infinity onto the rock. Turns off the cell phone attached to his belt. Looks up through the dappled canopy, through the emerging shades of fall. I used to spend summers up here at my grandmother's house, he says. My parents lived in the city, but as soon as school let out, my mom and I would come up here. We didn't go back until after Labor Day. Dad would come up on the weekends. He leans back on both elbows. My grandmother was an unusual woman. She had a tattoo, a rose on her left shoulder. She got it when she was a nurse at a logging camp in Washington State in the early 1900s. The photo image of the woman with the dragonfly pin reappears in my consciousness. The photo is mounted on a page, and that page is turning. The triad of dragonflies zoom in, hovering over us, buzzing, iridescent, flittering live metaphors, past, present, and future, weaving in and out of one another. He glances over to look at his watch, picks up the keys. "Hey man, time got away from me," he says. He stands up, brushes off some moss clinging to the seat of his pants. "I gotta run." He puts out his hand, shakes mine. "Thanks again."